Historically, Bitcoin has always printed very bullish Julys in a bear market, and the same thing I think will happen this time. We're gonna discuss of course the rising wedge pattern which we are breaking out of right now, the liquidity heat map, the 200 daily weekly moving average line, and much more. So without further ado, first of all, Bitcoin in July. Look at this. Historically, so for example, in the 2018 bear market, July, we went up a good 30% or so. We went up tremendously here in July in the bear market. Last bear market also, we went up very nicely in July. And right now, again, of course, we had just started July, and we can see right here from the charts for July already up 5.5%. And you can see last 3 times actually when we had a negative May and also a negative June, we actually went up 21%, 18% and 16% in July. And right now we saw the same thing. May down 3.4%, June down almost 21%. I mean, everything is set for July to be a kind of a relief for us. And we already see this right here. If I zoom in for Bitcoin on the 4 weekly here, or on the day, on the 4 hourly, on the daily, we can see that starting July, basically on the 1st of July, we have seen that relief to the upside. And what is this pattern? Well, of course, this pattern is a falling wedge pattern, which we know is a bullish pattern, which most of the time breaks out to the upside. And exactly so, we did break out to the upside. And right now we're basically forming this falling wedge pattern here. The target, of course, is always the top of the range, which would be right here at around about $67,000. Now I'm targeting that for now. If we look at the daily, we basically also have a larger falling wedge pattern. If we just extend these lines, we can say that we have it like this, which would bring on paper theoretically the target to basically here at the top range of like $82,000. But I don't necessarily think we can go there. Just wanted to highlight this for you guys, that we have this as well. But so let's go back to the 4 hourly. What can we see? Well, yesterday we actually broke the $62,100 resistance range, which was previous resistance, and so support right here, support, and also resistance here. I said that we could find support here and then go to the next target, which is around about $63,500. So basically the target, which has been previously support right here, and resistance right here. And I think we are most likely going to go there. We might see some rejection from there, bounce back down. But essentially, once we find support above this level, I think the next target, of course, is right here, the previous highs of the range, around about $67,000, potentially creating even slightly higher highs. Let's see how it goes. But very important to keep in mind that July is positive, and right now we're already up like 6% or so for July. I think we can continue the rally higher. If we look at the liquidation heat map, we can however see that most of the liquidity has been grabbed to the upside. And we know that on the way down, we build liquidity on the upside. On the way up, we build liquidity on the downside. And just like this, we're building liquidity now on the downside again. And most of it has been grabbed on the upside. We can see a big cluster of liquidity, of course, still below us at around $57,000, $57,500. So I believe, and as it has always happened, we most likely will grab that liquidity. But I think first of all, let's go up a bit higher. I'm gonna we'll enter short positions together on this channel, take this nice short down to the lows again, grabbing that liquidity here at $57,500. And then I think we can actually continue the move further to the downside, because of course, as we always say in a bear market, it takes 365 days from the top to the bottom, 365 days top to bottom, 369 days top to bottom. So everything points towards an October low for Bitcoin, October this year. So give it a few more months only, and we can find a bottom for Bitcoin. And that is our opportunity to take long positions, buy Bitcoin on spot, and make some good money here for the next 2 to 3 years in the next upcoming bull market. Now, also, the 200 weekly moving average is where the magic happens for Bitcoin. Well, that is because we usually find a bottom below the 200 weekly moving average, the average price of Bitcoin over the last 200 weeks. And we can see right here, we just now went below the 200 weekly moving average. Historically, whenever we go below, this is a perfect opportunity to buy Bitcoin and buy it very low at these low prices. If I go on the weekly chart and I show you guys the 200 weekly moving average. This is of course this white line here. We just closed below. Yes, we're trying to go back above, but essentially we're trading on that range just below, which is of course very, very crucial for forming bottoms for Bitcoin. And also what we can see usually during a bear market bottom, we create these falling wedge patterns, which eventually break out to the upside. Same thing is happening right now, a big falling wedge pattern. Yes, I do think we can go up here, retest the resistance here at the falling wedge, which will bring us to like $67,000 to $70,000, something like that. Then a big correction to the downside, potentially retesting this bottom range here, which will then bring us to around about the low 50s. Now, also important thing to note, if I go on the daily for Bitcoin and I zoom out a bit, I can actually see that whenever we find a bottom for Bitcoin, so let me zoom out here, we actually trade around that bottom for quite some time. So we don't have like a sharp bottom, we actually trade around that bottom like you see right here for a sustained period of time. If I go to the previous bear market, you can also see the same thing. We actually traded around the bottom for a sustained period of time. And even the cycle before that, once we found that bottom period, let me make it a bit more clear, we actually trade around that bottom period for a sustained period of time before we eventually go higher. So that all plays into our idea that once we have that breakdown, we could have a month of sideways movement here, but I think we will most likely reach that $50,000 level. Now, keep in mind also, we're basically trading alongside this big green line of support and resistance, which has been started at the top of the bull market. We then found resistance here at the first falling wedge bear flag pattern, then went straight through the second bear flag pattern and found support right here. And once we break down, I think we'll find some support alongside this green line, which we've been trading on. Now, also keep in mind, if I pull up the RSI, we have a bullish divergence, and a bullish divergence is of course if the price is downward moving, you can see price going down, while the RSI, the relative strength index, is upward moving. This is indicating that we have more buying pressure, Bitcoin is being bought more, and an early indicator that we will continue moving to the upside, which right now, correctly so, we have done. Now, next piece of information is that right now 45% of the Bitcoin long-term holder supply is sitting in a loss. So 45% of people who are owning Bitcoin are basically in a loss right now because they've bought at a price higher than the current price. And historically, whenever we reach these levels, we are forming bottoms. So right here, you can see every single cycle, once the long-term holder supply in a loss reaches a peak, of course, Bitcoin reaches a bottom, realistically so. And right now, we are at these levels, which historically have indicated bottoms for Bitcoin. You can see right here, Bitcoin bottom, Bitcoin bottom. On top of that, another piece of information, look at the blue line. The blue line is the long-term holder realized price. That is, of course, the average price of which Bitcoin was bought. It represents the average acquisition cost basis for coins held for at least 155 days. It is currently approximately $49,737. So $49,700. And we can see historically, Bitcoin always finds a bottom below the realized price, and below and so on. So right now, Bitcoin's price is above, right? So suggesting that, of course, the bottom is not in yet. We will most likely go to around about these $50,000 levels and find a bottom somewhere there. And finally, on this most recent pump for Bitcoin, which we just had, of course, altcoins have been pumping to the upside. The XRP long positions have increased, Ethereum long positions have increased, and people are generally more bullish on the market at the moment. But that is, of course, because Bitcoin is going up. Once Bitcoin then eventually, in my opinion, finds some kind of resistance here, so we can continue to go up, somewhere in our region here, find some resistance, and then we start trading down, all these altcoins will be wrecked. So in my opinion, stay away from altcoins for now until at least October, until we find a bottom for Bitcoin. Then if you are willing to gamble your money, you might invest in some altcoins. But in my opinion, just stick to Bitcoin. You'll thank me later. With that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you tomorrow and bye.